Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mohit Bhagwaj and I think you have already watched the part 1 of this video wherein we are briefing you about the GLB. And now it's time to talk about its electric sibling called the EQB, which is also making its way to our market. Well, without any further ado, let's kick things off design first. Well, electric is all about preservance of nature, environment and the greenery that we have around us. And with the EQB, Mercedes has also taken the theme of preservance because the EQB looks quite like the GLB and of course the GLS. Over to the front, you now have a new closed grille and slimmer LED headlamps. Also the LED DRLs, they are connected to each other and look very attractive, I would say. There are enough chrome bits on the front to make this car look imposing. The road presence is decent as well, and the bonnet continues to have those power domes which are seen on the GLB as well. Here, the alloy wheel design is more towards cutting the air and keeping the aerodynamic drag coefficient on the lower side, and they are 18 inches. Move over to the side, you can hardly spot any difference other than alloy wheels on this car when you compare it to the GLB. Of course, you have this new EQB badge over here on the fender, but I think it is the rear end where I found the EQB to be the most sophisticated one in comparison to the GLB. After all, connected LED tail lamps, a cleaner boot and a bumper mounted number plate look elegant. Well, let's step inside and see what's new here. On the inside, when you compare the EQB to the GLB, there are only a couple of changes and everything else remains the same. For example, you have a similar steering wheel, the same glass pane that houses two screens 10.25 inch each for the instrument cluster and the infotainment unit. The sound system is the same as well, and so is the ambient lighting. But on the EQB, color tone for the interior is different. You have this copper finish for the AC vents, and the interior is done in a grey theme along with this copperish effect for the upholstery. Also, you get this panel over here which is not carbon fiber. Instead, it gets integrated ambient lighting which work in tandem with your sound output. Also, the cabin is more silent here, I would say, all thanks to the electric motor. But if you want to know about the space that's there on the second and third row, I would request you folks to watch our GLB review video, and the link for the same you can find in the I button up here. Well, it's time that we should get going and see how different it is to drive when we compare it to the GLB. Well, after all, we have good roads here in Kodaikanal, and let's make the most out of them. It's time when we're driving the EQB, and it does not feel very different from the GLB visually because you have the same cockpit, the riding position is same, you sit high off the ground, having a great commanding view of the road. The bonnet is visible as well, and you can have a look at those power domes. However, the experience feels serene, it feels silent, because underneath those power domes this time you have an electric motor. And because of that, we thought of recording this P2C while driving in city, because we wanted to have a clear perspective of single pedal driving possibilities in the EQB, and it is very much possible. Well, now talking of numbers, the battery pack is a 66.5 kilowatt hour one that sits underneath the floor, giving it a lower center of gravity, making it a more agile and more capable car. The downside, however, are the low resistance tire, and also the brakes are really good at making this car come to a full stop even from its top speed, which is claimed at 160 kmph. Well, it's electronically restricted, but 0 to 100 kmph mark only takes around 7 seconds. After all, you get around 160 kilowatt of peak power and close to 400 Nm of max torque. Moreover, the steering feels really great. It is responsive and communicative as well. But coming to the important question, should you consider buying one? Let's get out and talk about that. Time for the final words. But before that, let me adore these gorgeous looking tail lamps. Well, I really like the rear end of the EQB in comparison to the GLB for sure. Although it lacks exhaust pipes, but that does mean lesser tailpipe emissions. And now coming to the subject of the matter. Should you be excited for this car? Should you consider buying this one? Well, I think you certainly should. This has got 7 seats, although the third row is not the most practical of all, but you get tremendously large boot space. And if you have kids in your house, of course, I'm talking about pre-teens, they can use the third row. Also, the car looks really neat with the closed front grille, swim LED headlamps, and of course a gorgeous looking rear. The feature list is long too, and if we talk of electric powertrain, Mercedes is offering 8-year warranty on the battery pack, and that speaks a lot. In fact, Mercedes is now also taking care of its resale value. So depreciation is not going to be something which will affect the GLB like other electronic appliances in your home. The claimed range of roughly 500 odd kilometers ARAI is what is expected on the GLB, and with the price point of say rupees 60 to 70 lakh, I think the EQB will make a lot of sense. And this was all from my side. I'm your host Mohit Bhardwaj. Will now take a leave.